Dr. Saslow, I've heard reports of veteran amputees being denied adaptive prosthetics. How many veterans have been denied adaptive prosthetics in the past year, and what justification is VA providing for these denials? Or Dr. Scott?
Thank you for that question. I'll go ahead and take that. So we certainly don't have the number of, when you say veterans that have been denied prosthetics, we don't have that number. Each veteran is seen and provided an individualized plan of care, and that care plan is based on the veteran's desires to engage in the community and also their medical comorbidities and other psychosocial factors. Our amputation teams are encouraging veterans to participate in recreational activities, and we are able, with our prosthetic regulations, to provide any device, provided it's FDA cleared, that is clinically indicated for a veteran. And while that development of that individualized care plan allows us for those items, even though they're recreational type items, to be clinically indicated to enhance their community participation.
So my staff has been in contact with a veteran who's been waiting all year for a prosthetic leg. He was told by the Nashville VAMC that his delay was due to a backlog of 4,000 prosthetic devices. Do you think this is acceptable?
I don't.
What immediate steps is the VA taking to address this significant backlog?
I would be happy to get some information about that specific veteran case.
Thank you. Is the VA leveraging community care and third-party vendors to alleviate this backlog? And is there anything preventing the VA from outsourcing more effectively to ensure timely prosthetic care and access?
I'm happy to answer that question. While I specifically don't know, or I can't answer specific to you said Nashville or Tennessee backlog, but in general, we do leverage community vendors, providers that are prosthetists. We work very closely with them. About 2/3 of prosthetic limb fabrication is provided out in the community. And our clinical teams, the amputation team that Dr. Skolton has described, they work in concert with those community providers. Oftentimes when a veteran is there getting their prosthetic limb or getting their therapy, our clinical team has beamed in with telehealth so that they can ensure that the veteran is getting the care that they deserve.
So to better understand the scope of this issue, I'd like a list of every VA medical center that currently has a prosthetic backlog. To be specific, I would exclude glasses, hearing aids, scleral shells. I'm speaking of limb prosthetics, arms, legs, hands, etc., broken down by item type by December 20th. Dr. Saslow, you mentioned earlier about the whole health approach and the annual assessment. We know that the majority of amputees come from vascular disease or peripheral vascular disease, or peripheral arterial disease, which could be diabetes or other types of peripheral arterial disease or PAD. We also know that the life expectancy or mortality once one has been diagnosed with PAD is quite significant, above 50%. So my question is, given that you have a whole health approach and an annual assessment, is the VA screening for PAD with a simple device such as an ankle brachial index test?
Yes, thank you for that question. I think one of the examples I think is really important is what we are doing with regards to our remote temperature monitoring and our sensory podometric smart map. That allows us to actually identify veterans that are at risk. We also have things called the siren socks or the Orpix insoles. So we are taking every advantage that we can to identify early diagnoses so that we can do prevention. One of the things that we've been able to be successful with is actually reducing the number of ulcerations based upon some of these uses by about 15%. We've actually seen a reduction of about 37% in our amputations and admissions to hospitals of about 10%. I think it's really important that this is just one set of tools that we use when it comes to addressing peripheral artery disease.
In the 2019 RAND report, and this is coming off of some of the other questions, the U.S. Army noted that for all individuals sustaining combat amputations, the goal is to return them to the highest level of activity they wish to achieve. In contrast, the standard of care at the VA focuses on returning amputee patients to a community ambulation level. And I certainly understand that with the majority of amputees in VA care being elderly and from vascular disease. But it enables them to perform basic activities of daily living, not to the highest level of activity they wish to achieve. Shouldn't the VA hold itself to the U.S. Army standards, particularly for post-9/11 service-connected amputees, to ensure they can function to their highest potential? Or do we need to legislate that there is a priority given to returning young amputees back to a full life, daily activities?
So we completely agree that we want to return people to the full extent of their activity of daily living, which is one of the reasons why we really have been trying to push for our veterans to get the equipment that they need to be as flexible as they can be. And one of the things that I think reflects that is the number of adaptive sports programs that we have that helps to highlight what the capabilities are for those veterans that may be seeking to improve their quality of life.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the subcommittee, I want to thank all of you for joining us today. You're now excused, and we will wait for a moment as the second panel comes to the witness table.